Okay, let's do natural gas. Natural gas is a fascinating one. So the price action of natural gas today, clearly see that there's some distribution happening, and we're actually on the, this is live, so we're getting live price action, which is beautiful. But natural gas had this huge surge. I think it was up over 9% today. And you can see these two blue trend lines, which I'll zoom out in a second. We'll show you which pivot highs they're connecting into as they act as resistance. And then the cool thing is that you've had now this retrace back to this yellow trend line, which I think this yellow trend line just gets me so excited. I was doing some in-depth, deep analysis on natural gas over the last week or two, and I was looking at some historical price action, comparing it with oil, doing a very, very hard comparison with oil and how natural gas reacts when oil tops and vice versa, and calculating how long roughly the cycle periods are from when oil tops and then when natural gas tops, or when natural gas tops and oil tops, and when they bottom, and so on and so forth. So I was trying to make as many correlations as possible, and then just trying to see, was there any previous cycles and pivot zones that I can use as a resistance guide to continue to know where I should pull and add to my next short level. Because believe it or not, natural gas is blowing through all the resistance lines. It was a powerhouse. And look at this move. I mean, it's gone straight vertical, and what goes straight up has to go straight down. When you look at the trend lines that it was blowing through, whoops, I'll just put that one back. It blew through this one, which everyone thought was a major one, blew through that one. So that was, and then you had to go deeper on a steeper incline. So now you've hit these two. So you hit this first one, which connects to basically 1, 2, 3 pivots and the fourth pivot. And then you have the secondary trend line, which connects basically to the one quick candle stick wick there, the wick high. So you can clearly see we've pulled off, but those trend lines are pretty short in time frame. I mean, they go back all the way till November of 2020. So it's a fair chunk of time, and it connects to the pivot high in October of 2021. But the really beautiful one that gets me excited is this trend line here, going all the way back to 1990. It basically connects through this chop, acts as support, support, support. Now it's resistance, retrace, and look what you connect. In 2014, you have an exact connection of the pivot high, and look what happened today. You hit that trend line and you pulled right back off. And now you might say, well, that's just fluky that you drew one trend line to the other. Well, this is why I took the oil analysis and tried comparing. And I had it in my previous video from about a few days ago, that it'll be interesting to see. Oil hit this pivot high in 1990, and it also hit this pivot high in 2014, right before this huge sell-off. And then that hit with the exact pivot high on a weekly basis that we just experienced on oil. And this is oil's parabolic run that went crazy, crazy, crazy all the way to 130 a barrel, and had this huge pull-off and has been in a downtrend since. So one could suggest that you're in a time period of 4 to 8 weeks. Oil has topped about 6 weeks ago. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks ago. And typically natural gas also tops within a 4 to 8 week period from oil. And you're roughly 6 weeks into the cycle. And the question is, it's too early to tell, but will this be the same cycle top that oil ran into, where it's resistance from the 2014 high and the 1990 high, just like oil. So far this level has held for oil. The question is, and I believe with similar dynamics from the war in Russia, Ukraine, and the Europe energy crisis, I think this level technically has a high probability of holding. That's why today this was our big add to KOLD, which significantly improved our average on our overall position. So as what I'm expecting for a pullback, and it'll probably be a pretty sharp one, is roughly this 21% pullback from the high. Now we've pulled back slightly, but I roughly think this could fall 21% pretty quickly. And the beautiful thing about the price action is, so you had today's price action, and then this is the new day that's still open today. So this is like the futures. So you had it pull your first day, you pulled off of it, then you've had this retrace of the wick, And again, look what's coming up as resistance. This beautiful yellow trend line, just like it did for oil. Let's just see if oil retraced. So oil kind of did a small retrace up to that orange line and pulled back. And it hasn't taken out that level since. So it's just really interesting to see how extended this truly gets. But you can ultimately see here UNG, nice tail. And then with the futures open, it's probably up here a little bit. But certainly a good thing to see that there's distribution happening at these levels. It's certainly overdue. And I think there's some major key gaps along the way that have to get filled. We also did play this in the live day trade room for a beautiful gain. You can see here that we had this green line where we acquired a massive position in shorting, and we just covered it at this red line. So it was a beautiful, nice over percent gain. I think it was 40 cents per share, which ended up working out lovely. Considering we are down on KOLD for the moment, it is a swing trade and it is a double. I think once this pulls back, you'll be surprised how quickly KOLD makes us money. That's it for tonight. Stay tuned for more trade alerts. We have plenty of action heading into the earnings season. There's going to be tons of volatility. Be careful how you trade earnings. It's not advised to chase stocks into earnings. Rather, wait for the pop or wait for the drop if you want to trade earnings. But that being said, there's certainly going to be volatility. This is going to be a tricky period for earnings pumping up a stock or really hammering a stock, and then forward guidance either crushing a stock or pumping a stock up. The forward guidance is going to be key as we really give the CEOs time to discuss sanctions, the war, inflation, economic policy tightening, and just overall GDP now forecast